Sports Card Show, the only 1 hour radio show giving you the latest information in sports cards, memorabilia, and collectibles. Here are your hosts, Emin Pilati, Tim Big Shep Shepler, and Kevin Whitey Gleason. Marge, I'm large.
Okay, settle down. Happy Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us on the True Sports Card Show. I'm Whitey Gleason, and I have good news. You heard the trade rumors. You heard he might be going to Memphis for a box of 1991 Donruss baseball cards. You heard he might be headed to Orlando for a couple of Sasha Vezenkov rookie cards and a Contenders Fat Pack. But the rumors are not true. He's still here, and we're all grateful. Here he is, Mr. True Sports Cards himself, Emin Pilati.
What was the trade?
It was you. Well, the rumors I heard, one was you to Memphis for a 1991 Donruss baseball box, and then the other one was you to Orlando for a couple of Sasha rookie cards and a Contenders Fat Pack.
Listen, 1991 Donruss had Steve Decker rookie cards in there. Do you remember Steve?
I do.
With his pitcher, the lefty Bud Black, and then we were calling it Black and Decker.
Those were the days.
1991 Donruss. Those boxes go for roughly about $15 a box.
See, I thought you were worth more than that.
Which is strange because with inflation, it's actually less than what it was when it came out at 50 cents a pack. So. Good morning, Whitey. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So a few things have happened since we went off the air last week.
A little bit, huh?
Kind of wild. We had that 24 hours after we got off the air. We talked about De'Aaron and the possibilities. And then obviously the Luka, this has got to be hacked of Shams account.
Right.
Yeah, we had that happen that night.
Emin texted me like 8:38 or something. I'm so sorry
PM.
I'm so sorry. I would never text you this late.
I'm so sorry to wake you from your sleep.
I was like, hello.
You roll over your wife like, who could be dare calling us this late?
I was just getting started for my crazy evening.
I couldn't. We were getting ready to go to club. My wife's putting on makeup. I'm putting on my shiniest shirt.
Yeah.
We're buying glow sticks.
My Thriller jacket.
And I'm like, where? What? Breaking news.
That was, as everyone knows, it was just bizarre. It was like, nope, that's not right.
Yeah, because no word of him being shopped. It was just out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Negotiated one team. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the next day, we had the stunning, but prepared for it, De'Aaron Fox trade. And were you guys talking about it this week on the drive, guys? I don't know.
It came up a time or two. But speaking of text, I know I texted you because based on the things you had said on this show last week, I thought, Emin is not going to be happy with this return. But basically you said, onward and upward. Let's move on.
I'm one of those that's, whether it's my businesses, whether it's friendships, whether it's your favorite team that you rooted for since you were a little kid. If you don't want to be here, let's get you out of here, man. I don't want you to be somewhere you don't want to be. I certainly don't want to be somewhere that I don't want to be. So if De'Aaron really wanted out, and again, you guys heard all the news, and I think Carmichael Dave said a few things during the week with his conversations with De'Aaron.
He actually had a text exchange with
him.
Right, yeah.
Right. And the whole thing, like, I didn't ask for the trade. I wasn't asking for it. But if we were determined to do so, this is where I want to go. Doesn't sound like that might have been the total truth based on what, like, for example, Malik Monk was saying. When he was saying things like, well, it sounded like you want to be out of here. That's a business. I mean, kind of ho-hum. This is where it is. I'm not thrilled with the return. I would have loved Stephon Castle, but it sounds like
that was not going to happen.
That was not going to happen. Yeah. But to not even get a Vassell, to not even get a Keldon Johnson, to not even get great draft picks, I'm still okay with it. Levine is a great player. You just have to figure out the meshing here.
Yeah. My read on it is one of the reasons they didn't get more players from San Antonio is because they really wanted Zach LaVine. That was the guy they wanted in all this. Yeah. And they got some, those picks, a couple of those, they got 3 number ones. It's not really 3 number ones, but the 2 number ones unprotected, we'll see. They could be worth a lot. You just don't know yet.
The 2 losses in a row since the trade happened. Yeah. De'Aaron had that win in his debut.
Then they lost at the buzzer last night.
Only because he let go of it about 0.5 seconds too late. He made the shot. But we're not. I'm rooting for De'Aaron to do well, but I'm certainly not rooting for the Spurs.
Spurs are right there. Yeah, the Kings, and so are the Blazers now.
De'Aaron, score 60, score 50. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah,
and lose, please, because we don't need any more below the standings teams.
You're a nice guy. Emin, there are a lot of Kings fans that are like, no, I hope he does terrible. So I like your approach. Hope he plays well. Hope they lose.
We're going to talk Super Bowl right after a few.
When is that?
I think it's tomorrow, but the NBA has been dominating this conversation. So a couple things. First of all, our team, Donovan and AJ, are in Burlingame, California right now in the San Francisco Bay Area. They're set up at the East Bay Card Show. If you haven't had a chance to go visit that card show, I would definitely go to it. I will tell you that Pokemon is one of the hottest things I've seen in many years.
Prismatic?
Just Pokemon in general.
Everything.
Anything Pokemon right now is hot. And you'd think that the little kids are all about it. They are. But these kids are getting older and older coming into the store. Anthony, how old are you, roughly? Anthony's behind the window.
I'm 23.
Oh, yeah. Older than you by a lot. Like, we've got 30-year-olds coming and going, do you have any prismatic? They're scratching their neck. Do you have any prismatic? Like, yeah, we have it. It's selling out. So the reason I bring that up is because the Burlingame Card Show has probably 50% of them Pokemon and trading card games, TCG, One Piece, and Magic and that stuff. And then the other half is sports cards. So our team is there representing the sports card side.
Where
but we are looking.
Game is it? Pardon me.
It's at the
Burlingame place.
Yeah.
The Burlingame hub.
I should probably, if I'm going to announce something, I should probably research it. East Bay Card Show is the name of the card show.
I'll check that for you.
Okay, I'm looking it up too. Secondarily, tomorrow it's going to be held at the Hyatt Regency. Sorry, it's at the Hyatt Regency at the SF Airport.
Ooh.
So that's where this card show is. So Donovan and AJ will be there for almost the entire day. They stayed the night there, so that way they didn't have to drive this morning.
At the airport?
They stayed at the airport.
People that miss their flight.
Listen, there's the only here at True Sports Cards, we save a lot of money by making them sleep in the terminal.
Yeah.
You may find them in Terminal B.
That's done all the time.
In between gates 26 and 27. The two guys sleeping there. And then tomorrow we will be open at the shop from 10 to 2 p.m. I will be working. I gave everybody else the day off.
Oh.
So that way they can enjoy that. And then at 2 p.m. on the dot, I'm out the door. So if you're lingering, I'm going to kick your butt out the door. Wondering really, why are you at a card shop at 2 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday instead of hanging out and doing some stuff?
The game
with
doesn't
friends?
start to what, 3 or 3 something?
No, that's when the national anthem starts. I think the national anthem ends at about 3:25.
Okay.
The festivities take a long time to get going.
Right.
Who are you watching the game with tomorrow?
It's just going to be me and the missus. There's a semi-regular Super Bowl event that either isn't being held this year or we haven't been invited yet. I think it's the former.
I think it's the second one.
So anyway, which is fine because, I want to watch the game. And I appreciate when you're at a gathering and there's people like, how's it going? Hey, how about that thing Drapes did about, pies? It's like, okay, that's great. Thank you. I'm glad you listened. I'm trying to watch the game. So I'll have a chance to watch the game tomorrow.
Drapes did a thing about pies?
He did overrated desserts.
Oh, I was here for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It was fun, but I'm just saying, when you're
enough about
at a party,
Drapers. Yeah.
No, it's like, I want to watch the game. Can we save the chit chat for next time? I don't know.
Wait till commercials.
Yeah.
And then the other half are going, shh, the commercials are on.
Exactly.
Be quiet. Exactly. Well, I was going to invite you to my house, but I'm not going to be there either. We're going to a friend's.
I can still go there.
You can go enjoy the game. There's nobody there. So we're bringing Beckett and we're going to Jessica's best friend's brother's house. And I say that fast. I like him. He's a nice guy and we're going to have a good time, but we're doing the 2 separate cars thing. So that way I can go there.
Oh yeah.
And then cause her and all her girlfriends will be there with their spouses and they're much younger than me. They're 15 years younger than me. So we don't have tons in common.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the old grandpa on the couch going, why are you talking so loud? And so I've got that going. So at halftime, I'm not the biggest Kendrick Lamar guy. I don't enjoy the Super Bowl halftime shows normally.
I am.
You're a Kendrick Lamar guy. And God, you find him to be word and not less whack. Is how I describe.
Right. Bingo.
Who could forget? So I'm going to just bounce out of there at halftime and give the old Emerald Pilati goodbye, which is, where's the restroom? And then I'd leave. So I'll take Beckett with me. Jessica will stay with her girlfriends. They can watch the rest of the football game together as friends. But I'm going to my house so I can watch the rest of the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'd rather have my baby with me than be around all these other people. So just me and him.
By the way, speaking of drapes, he hit me up on FaceTime last night. It had to do
He did it with me too.
With an employee of yours.
He did that to me too.
Really? With Nick?
With Nick.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, Emron, let me ask you something. I'm driving. I'm FaceTiming and driving him. He could care less. And he sees me driving. He could care less that I was driving.
Yeah.
Was it the Wilt Chamberlain question?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So Nick Draper says to him, Dad, Wilt Chamberlain's not even in my top 15. And Drapes goes, oh, dog.
Yeah.
Oh. So he calls me.
Yeah.
After you and I were texting and we spoke.
Yeah.
Like literally 1 minute after.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this guy's texting me. Oh, FaceTime. I go, it said FaceTime by Kyle Draper. And I go, is this an accident? He goes, no, this is on purpose.
Yeah.
We got to talk.
Yeah.
My son, your employee, is telling me that Wilt Chamberlain is outside of the top 15.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Nick go down his list. His list number 1 starts with LBJ, LeBron James. He had him over Jordan. He had Jordan number 2. He had Kobe in the top 5, et cetera, et cetera. And then, Drapes brought out his list. What did he tell you his Chamberlain was at?
Top 5, I think 4 or something.
It was high.
Yeah.
It was really high.
Yeah.
I have Chamberlain at like 9.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm higher than that.
What do you have, Matt?
I think the last time we did it, I had him at 6, and I was kind of ashamed that he wasn't higher. I know we're going to talk about Super Bowl. The thing he doesn't get credit for, people say, Wilt Chamberlain played against a bunch of guys that weren't that good. He was better than everybody else who played at the time he played than anybody else. The margin between Wilt and everybody else,
was so
Bill
big.
Russ played, it was wider than it's been for any great player. And he doesn't get credit for that, in my opinion.
I agree. But Kareem is like 3 or 4 to me.
Yeah.
So it's tough to put. I think that Wilt is top 11 or so, probably number 9. And so they were arguing about that. It was fun. I like the old categories and where everybody lands.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about this Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow, Chiefs versus Eagles, and we talked a little bit about pricing. I think that this topic has been beat to death on whether or not Mahomes is getting calls and if the Chiefs are kind of fast track to being the champions again. But I did a little research this morning. You and I have the papers in front of us, and let's talk about it in the Cards standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So the opportunities for investment as far as your collection, they can involve just about everybody from the wide receiver Xavier Worthy to is Juju still on the team? I think he is. Yes. Anthony's saying yes. DeAndre Hopkins, like all these guys have potential. Rashee Rice, who isn't playing, I don't think, but he's on the Chiefs. Anthony can jump in whenever.
I had a Devontae Smith color match rookie prism that I sold for like very cheaply a few years ago. That was a bad idea.
Jalen Hurts. I mean, there's a lot of people that investment potentials. Saquon, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's just stick with the tried and trues, the easy ones to kind of pay attention to. We've got Mahomes and we've got Kelsey. And so what I did was I pulled some research from the previous one, and Peg Junk is asking, does that include Sky Moore? I think anybody on any team could be something. If you're looking for the Super Bowl MVPs, you're going to dial in on your quarterbacks for the most part, with the exception of the guy on the trade block now is an example like Cooper Kupp, the Super Bowl MVP, who is now on the trade block. Life comes at you fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
So we've got the Mahomes pre-Super Bowl. So I looked at last year's scenario of 2024 Super Bowl, and I'll give you some dates. So let's start with the 2017 Optic rookie, number 177, a PSA 10. And the reason why I went with the Optic versus the Prism is because the Prism is so expensive to the point where a regular collector is going to find that to be, for the most part, outside of their budget, in excess of $4,000 to $5,000.
Right.
Nobody's rolling around with $5,000 in their pocket going, anybody have any extra Mahomes PSA 10s?
By the way, real quick, I want to apologize to Emron because today I was on the dock. I was looking at the dock as he was working on it. So I went in there. I have access to the show doc, and he had PSA 10 and I kept changing it to 4. And I don't think he knew I was doing it because you kept going back, and I put, good morning, Emron, but I don't think you ever saw it. So you were probably wondering, what is going on?
Yeah. When you live with a working, breathing doc and 2 people are on it, And one of them always wants to play pranks.
That was probably poor Doc etiquette.
Doc etiquette.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, is this all correct now?
I don't know. I don't remember all what I did. So yes.
Pre-Super Bowl last year, February 1st, 2024, before the Super Bowl happened, Mahomes and the Chiefs versus the Niners, that card, 2017 Optic Rookie PSA 10, was closing at around $1,000.
Wow.
Post Super Bowl, I used the example of 2/28/24. It went up to $1,075, a 7.5 increase after the Super Bowl win. So today, that same card, as of today, the last sale was 2 days ago for $1,513. So we've seen a more than $450 increase from the previous years after Super Bowl win.
And may see more growth tomorrow, a lot more growth tomorrow, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's an example of seeing that increase. Now, that normally doesn't happen. Matt Stafford, when he won his Super Bowl with the Rams, saw a spike going in. They won. It stayed maintained. No price jump, and then declined. It was weird. So why? I don't know.
Well, because Mahomes, people say, he could be remembered as the greatest of all time.
He's on his way.
Matt Stafford?
Nah, he capped out his career. Yeah. Kelsey, pre-Super Bowl. We're going to use 2013 Topps Chrome Refractor rookie, not the base, but the refractor. PSA 10. This is card number 118. On 128, January 28th, 2024, it went for $525. However, and this is a unique thing, after the Super Bowl, after the win, the day after, 2 days after, $450. It dropped by $75. And then after that, as it lingered on, March 6th, 2024, $332. March 10th, $348. March 12th, $316. Why? Why did that happen? And today, that card, there was a sale that was it says 5/3/25, but it meant 2/3/25.
I should have changed it.
Yeah, maybe you were messing with that. February 3rd, sold for $365. Why, Whitey? Why could this have happened? Why could the great Travis Kelce see a drop in price after a Super Bowl win?
I would guess because of the Taylor Swift factor. That $450 that it went for a year ago was an anomaly, and there was an inevitable market correction.
I just feel like people are having some fatigue of some of you know what it is? It feels like, and it's not to be political at the moment, but just kind of bring this up. As you see some people struggling for today's management of their budgets and making sure that they're able to provide for their families. And, people are, I wouldn't say scraping, but they're, times are tough. They're being a little bit more discriminatory on their spending and their secondary spending. They may look at stuff going, I don't really look at these billionaires, millionaires running around and screw them.
525 is just too much for a tight end rookie card, in my opinion, even though it is.
Would you consider him and Gronk the greatest too?
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I'm going back to like Charlie Young.
Well, congratulations to your Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
Are you a Chargers guy?
Not really.
Okay. I'm glad. Never mind. Not your Antonio Gates. So
can I say something real quick?
Please.
I wonder what you think of this. Years ago, I was working at a station in San Francisco, and I like to kind of doodle around on the guitar. So the station where I work, it's the game now. They had been a country station. So somebody said, "Oh, here's this guitar from the country station. You can fool around with that." And it was, one of those cheap guitars that has the name of the country station on there. There's some autographs on there. So I was playing it. Someone said, "You can have that." I was like, no, I don't. I left it there. It had Taylor Swift's autograph on it because, she was a country star. I could have had that. And at the time, I was like, okay, big deal. That's probably worth a little bit now, I'm guessing.
Who else was on there?
I don't know. A bunch of country people, and I don't know if any of them ever did anything. But, she was making the rounds, I guess, as a country star and came in, "Hey, would you sign our guitar?" "Sure." And I could have taken that guitar.
And you missed out on the world's biggest star in 2024-25.
Yes.
I'm a poker player, and I always tell bad beat stories. Times that I just got at the last minute clutch. What do they call it? Clutched from the hands of the winner. What's the snatching it from the
defeat from the jaws of victory?
That was me. Yeah, you just did that.
Right.
I could have.
Yeah.
I could have.
I remember looking at who's that? Oh, Taylor's. Taylor's. Yeah,
she has
I
a
know
very
her.
flowery autograph back then.
Oh yeah,
very like lots of loops and very girly. Now it's just.
Now it's just a dollar sign.
Yeah. It's a picture of Travis.
Good for her.
So let's look at the losers bracket of last year. Brock Purdy.
Why you want to go there? 49er fans are having a hard enough time with this Super Bowl as it is.
Hey.
Let's look what happened to Brock Purdy's values after the 49ers
Sports
lost the Super
1140,
Bowl.
home of your San Francisco 49ers and the loser Brock Purdy. Last year, we're going to use the card 2022 Prism Silver PSA 10. In leading up to the game, that card last year was averaging roughly about $750. That's the 22 Prism Silver PSA 10 rookie. That was averaging about $750.
A lot of people assuming he was going to win, right? Like, it's going to shoot up.
After that game, about a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you have multiple sales in the $650 range. Now, Brock had a tough year this year. In addition to that, Niners went 6 and 11. Bad year, lots of injuries. Brock sat out the last game. Here we are today. As of today, sale happened 2 days ago. Same card, $417. What's the moral of the story, Whitey Gleason?
The moral of the story is buy now because they're going to be good again next year. And, this is the time to jump on that Brock Purdy market. Market's down. Take advantage of it. That's the moral of my story. I don't know about yours.
Well, I think that it's pretty clear they're going to make the commitment to Brock Purdy for the next 5 to 7 years minimum. He'll probably sign a 4 or 5 year contract somewhere around the $45 million range is my guess. When you make that kind of commitment, you're going to stick with it. An example of that is like Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
They're sticking with him, even though he's an above average quarterback. What's that guy? Cooper Rush. If Cooper Rush or Trey Lance did really well, it's highly unlikely that they'd move off of Dak based on that. So you could, once the Niners lock in Purdy, I have a feeling that you can see some stability in his cards.
Yeah.
And at $417, not a bad investment if you're Brock Purdy. I like to invest in cards of teams that I'm going to root for anyways.
Yeah.
So where do we position ourselves here? Couple things that we could talk about, the narratives that are happening in today's world. The Chiefs are kind of embracing themselves as villains right now, and I was thinking about what did they do that's villainous?
Yeah. It doesn't fit. They can try.
Yeah. I think that people are creating some false narrative about saying that the script says that the Chiefs have to win. And that's why the refs will call a roughing the passer. And if he's gently tapped, after he releases the ball or something like that.
You're right, but that doesn't make them the villains. It kind of makes the league the villains, Like you look at the classic football villains, you go back to like the old Oakland Raiders. I mean, they were villains because they just knock your head off.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs are not like that.
Right. But they keep winning no matter what. So people are like, oh,
right.
The script has been written.
Yeah.
The script has been written. And I would just say that like every time a record is beaten, a whole entire fan base of it, the record holder, the previous record holder gets pissed off, right? The closer that Mahomes gets to Brady, the more the Patriots and Brady lovers are going to get mad, right? They talked about Mercury Morris, the late Mercury Morris, who played for the Dolphins, the undefeated team, that every time a team would go undefeated and then lose during the season, they all cheered. Yeah.
They had champagne parties.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the tight end for that team, Marv Fleming. I got to know him, be friendly with him. And I asked him a question. I said, is that true? He goes, like, we didn't get together and throw a party, but what we did do was like call each other and be like, we're still the guys. We're still the guys. So they talked about if Wilt Chamberlain was alive today and somebody was about to score, 100 points, he'd probably be under the basket, shaking the basket, right?
Yeah.
Guys that have that record don't want it to be beaten because they stay relevant in conversation and people remember them, and we all want to be remembered, right?
That's the coolest thing about Hank Aaron is when Barry was going to break his record or did break his record. Hank Aaron had that message on the scoreboard there at whatever it was at the time. now Oracle. And he said, congratulations. It was like, Simba, I am your father. But it was really cool. I don't know how he really felt, but that was very gracious of Henry Aaron to do that message right after his record was broken. Like, good for you. Records are made to be broken.
Right, exactly. And he's still, a lot of places consider the home run king because they have the asterisks on Barry, whether that's deserved or not. And I would just say that right now, Mahomes tomorrow could do something that has never been done before.
Yeah,
which is a three-peat.
We're not talking about that enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not a Chiefs fan, but that's incredible.
Even if there's odds of a team winning more than the other, it's a 50-50 chance that happens tomorrow. That's something that we've never seen in the history of the NFL is going to happen, which is a three-peat. And there's a lot of fan bases, Steelers, Niners, Cowboys, that are going to be kind of pissed off that their team didn't pull it off.
Right.
So they're all rooting against that happening. They would rather root for the Eagles, not because they like the Eagles, but because they don't want the three-peat to happen.
Aren't you surprised that Debo came out and said, yeah, I'm rooting for the Eagles? After everything he said about the Eagles and Philly fans, he said, yeah, I'm rooting for the Eagles against the Chiefs. Isn't that incredible?
Maybe he's an NFC guy. Like if the Kings weren't in the playoffs, would they root for the Western Conference representative versus Eastern? I don't know. Maybe Debo. I don't know what Debo.
I mean, I can see him saying, I don't want anybody to win, but no, I'm going for the Eagles. That just surprised me.
Yeah.
He must be a big Draper guy.
Exactly. Oh God, was Drapes like insufferable this week?
Do you know what a serape is? It's
Explain
like a poncho. It's like a. And I think he got it in Mexico. He came in yesterday wearing an Eagles NFC Championship cap that his mother had given him, and he had, I kid you not, an Eagles serape, which is a big. When we had Jerry Reynolds on, Jerry said, "That's a nice dress, Kyle." But it's kind of cool. Good for him. He's excited about it. But to answer your question, that's where he was this week.
I'm going to face him tomorrow during the game. Like, let's say it's a close game near the end. I'm going to be like, Trapes, answer this. And on a FaceTime, I'll be like, Jessica and I are arguing about who's the greatest king of all time. Who do you think? He's like, I'm in the middle of a drive.
Yeah.
All right. So I just feel like with tomorrow's opportunities, I feel like Saquon has an opportunity because if there's going to be a Super Bowl MVP from the Eagles side, of the chances of it happening, it would be more Saquon than it would be Hurts.
You would think, yeah.
Unless something crazy happens,
if Hurts goes on a couple, long runs.
Do you think tush pushes make it happen, or people will look at that and go,
You mean
if he scores a couple touchdowns via tush push,
he's going to win the MVP?
Yeah.
Nah,
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think Saquon, and I think that's what is keeping Steve Spagnuolo up at night is how we going to stop Saquon Barkley. So
yeah. And then on the other side, it's going to be Mahomes, maybe Kelsey, but it's going to be Mahomes. And he had an underwhelming performance, I think, in the first of the three-peat potential. I think the first one 2 years ago was underwhelming. He still got MVP. So I think that
maybe we have a defensive MVP this year.
I mean, who's the last one?
Somebody.
Who was the last one? Dexter Jackson?
Yeah, I think you're right.
With the Bucks?
Yeah.
So I just feel like, God, and Larry Brown. I was thinking about Larry Brown too, where Neil O'Donnell threw it directly to him.
You know, a little Super Bowl trivia. One year we had a defensive MVP from the losing team. How about that? In a Super Bowl. When the Colts beat the Cowboys.
Chuck Howley.
Yes, you're correct.
God, I'm good.
He was a defensive MVP on a losing team. Yeah, Super Bowl 5.
The last defensive player to get Super Bowl MVP was Von Miller on the Broncos.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. That's when Peyton couldn't throw more than 20 yards with his fused neck.
Yeah.
Von Miller. Wow. Anthony with the off the top of the dome. I like that.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Yeah. I didn't Google that at all.
Okay.
Use the noodle, not the Google.
Super Bowl. It was, it'd be a good time to remind people where they can get post Super Bowl cards.
I can't think of anywhere.
Do you have music for this beautiful read? And for I don't know if Whitey even has the read.
I have a
ill prepared, both of you.
The question is, what's going to happen first? He's going to find the music, or I'm going to find the read. I'll get back to you with that.
He's going to get to the read.
All right, never mind.
Scratch. Well, why don't you just forget the read? Just tell me, Whitey, about what it is so great about the True Sports Cards card shop.
Well, the first thing that jumps out is...
Go ahead and start the music now, Anthony. Go. He's looking through his copious notes for this. Those of you watching on the YouTube, this guy's flipping more paper than
Family owned and operated since 1974. Nope, that's the
Oh,
wrong one.
Wait, is that the garage doors?
That's
No?
National
That's
Garage Door.
Doors.
Yeah. The selection is amazing.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to getting back up there myself. I'm looking for some 88 Fleer basketball. But the best thing is the service you get and the fact that you're invited to come in this very inviting environment. Come on in. Look at we have boxes of cards back here. Take your time. Sit down at the table and go through them. So it's a fun. It's like, you find cards in your garage. Sometimes it's fun to go through. You can go to True Sports Cards and go through these cards. See if you see anything you like. It's enjoyable.
It was the largest purchase I've ever made for a card shop. Was on Wednesday.
I saw that on Instagram.
I didn't go to the game. I actually got rid of my tickets in order to make this happen. So it was the Zach LaVine debut game. They're playing against the Magic.
Turned out to be a smart move on your part.
So I had 2 tickets to the game, and one of our listeners said, I'm interested in selling my cards. And he came in with his father-in-law, and the two of them brought in
That's great.
boxes upon boxes upon boxes of cards. We struck a deal. It was fair to both sides. You know what fair to both sides means? That I didn't feel great about it and they didn't feel great about it, meaning that we both felt like we lost a little, but we both ended up happy with it. He has plenty of reasons to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And
how many reasons?
More, at least one, and under 1 million reasons. But I will tell you that, I put a picture of it on our Instagram page. If you guys haven't followed us already, True Sports Cards, one word on Instagram. And there was Jordan rookies in there. Lamar Jackson signed rookies.
And you mean like a star Jordan rookie, right? Not Fleer.
I wish.
There
was one star Jordan rookie, but it wasn't.
It was like rookie of the year.
Correct. It wasn't the specific Jordan star rookie, but it was of that year Jordan rookie star. That was a BGS 8. We sold that. And so we just had a bunch of cards come through. We're about 1/4 of the way processing it. It was about 15 2 rows of cards, just insane stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're going to the Burlingame show today, Donovan and AJ have a lot of that there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
power of radio, huh? The power of the True Sports Card Show.
For those of you that are loyal listeners, we appreciate you. We love you. And couldn't tell you how much we really appreciate you continuing to support our shop. A couple things in the YouTube chat. Greg Pathero says, Hamron, are you guys going to contact the new Sacramento King player, Jake LaRavia? Now, you said that you saw the press conference of Jake.
Yeah.
The don't talk Jake kind of guy.
He and Valanciunas, it was fine. They did everything they're supposed to do. They're just clear that it's not really what they would have chosen to do then. Not real outspoken. And, they just wanted I'll answer your questions. I'm here to play basketball. But
when you're relocated, I think that sometimes, and you don't play video games, do you?
Not much.
Especially
Atari Pong occasionally.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you go to bed at 8 o'clock, there's not much time.
Spin on it.
From the time you get home after being done with the drive guys at 6 something, and then bedtime at 8, not a lot of
that must be a weekend.
School night, street lights, bye-bye. The game 2K basketball, right? We just trade people around. We don't care. This guy's going there. I'm going to get that guy. The one part that's not there is the human aspect. Jake LaRavia now thought he was maybe settling roots in Memphis. Jonas signs a 3-year contract in Washington. They understand that there's the possibilities, but when it does happen, Jake was part of Memphis a day ago, and now he's over here. Yeah, he went from 3rd in the conference to now fighting for play-in, and he's maybe or maybe not in the rotation. He doesn't know. He's got his family. I don't know if he's married or if he has a significant other.
But he does have cards. We know that.
He loves cards. He is a card collector. And in fact, Greg is correct in the chat in saying that this guy loves cards. He's well known for having Nash Cards, which is a local shop there in Nashville. And Jake had put an inscription on his card saying, visit Nash Cards. So, Jake, if you're listening, which he probably is.
Sure.
Okay. He's probably listening right now. Jake LaRavia, if you want to be a part of the True Sports Cards family, we had Kevin Herter leave us. So sad. But Jake LaRavia, we have a spot on our roster for you. So hit us up.
That's great.
On True Sports Cards on our Instagram. We'd love to have you be part of the family. And then you could sign inscriptions that say, visit True Sports Cards. and we'll make sure that happens.
We'll get him in here to do a show with us.
Greg also adds in the fact that he says if Drapes wants his My Guy discount, he better answer the FaceTime call tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
one thing I've noticed about Imran is when he calls somebody, it just happened a couple weeks ago on the air, he calls Dan Issel. I've been with him when he calls like Artis Gilmore or Rick Barry. People answer right away.
They know.
They see it's Imran's like, yeah, what can I do for you, buddy?
Yeah, what you need there, sir? Anything you need?
I don't do that necessarily, but everybody else does when Imran
I was going to say, I've listened to Whitey's voicemail more than once. And I'm like, and then I always go, voicemail? Who do you think you are? All right. And then he instantly calls back. Sorry, Imran. Please. Am I still on the show? I go, barely.
It's all true.
All of it's true. Christopher Ryan says that Laravia said that his hobby is collecting sports cards.
Yeah.
Come on in, bro. Let's do a break together.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of breaks, and we're going to talk about this, the Kings here in a second, but we have an exceptional break happening this Wednesday on Instagram at 7:00.
Tell me about it.
So we've got the 2025 Top Series 1 full case break.
That's awesome.
12 boxes. We're going to open on camera starting at 7 p.m. We're randomizing the teams. You can have your own team. You could pick a spot. It's only $50.
Did you say $50?
I said
That's like
$50.
nothing. You're like giving them away.
I'm giving it away for $50. You're going to get a random spot, and then all you have to do is just buy your spot on Instagram. Just message me what spot you want. I'll send you a link to make payment, or you could go directly to truesportscards.com, click on box breaks and random team break. You're going to pick your spot. There's about less than half left. So there's about 14, 13 spots left. We will fill it. We will break on Wednesday. Buy your spot for $50. That day at 7:01, we're going to randomize the spot. 1 through 30, we're going to randomize the spots. You'll end up with the team that you end up with. I'll give you 5 minutes before if you want to trade with somebody else in the break. So maybe you got the A's and you want not the A's. And you go, hey, why do you want us to trade your Pirates for this guy?
I want not the A's.
I want not the A's. Anybody but the A's. So, yes, that will happen. And then we'll start breaking, and every card will ship. So if
I've
you
been taking a long look at that, by the way.
You will?
I have been. We talked about it last week. Yeah.
Stop staring at it.
Yeah.
It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird at you staring at it that long. Make the commitment. Go to truesportscards.com. Buy that into that break right now. It's only $50. There's less than 15 spots left, and we are going to break it no matter what.
So when are those cards? Are they out yet? Or they're coming?
They are coming on release day, which is February 12th, which is Wednesday. That's why we're breaking it on that day.
Gotcha.
So we'll be breaking it that night. Love it. All right. So we've got. I love it. There's a lot of love going on in the YouTube chat. All right, let's talk about the Fox trade. Anthony has some sound. I think it's Malik Monk that had a little conversation. Go ahead and play that, please.
Because he was one of the reasons I came here for sure. But yeah, we got to move on. I know it's a business. By the looks of it, they say he wanted to be out of here, so he got what he wanted.
Obviously, you had a good relationship with De'Aaron. Did you talk to him at all throughout that process, or since the deal?
No, I try not to talk to him about it because obviously I gotta play basketball, be ready for basketball, lock in on this team and what we're doing. But I'll probably talk to him later on down the line.
That was after the game in the Kings locker room after the Orlando loss.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The Kings, the finalization of the trade was De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin out of here. The Kings get Zach LaVine, City, who is on the move since then, some picks, and the Bulls got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, our own Kevin Huerter, and they got their pick back from the Spurs, their 25 first rounder. Okay, overall, now that you've had a year, feels like a year.
That was a fast year.
A week to marinate on this. What are your thoughts on the original trade for De'Aaron going out?
I have to do the original trade because what I was going to say is I withheld judgment on that until I could see who else they got. To me, if you look at now who they brought in, who they sent out, Valanciunas, your guy Jake LaRavia, and Zach LaVine for what they sent out, plus 2 first rounders. I think they did well.
And the Kings lost some people in the LaRavia trade, which I believe was Len.
Right.
And who else? City went out. Colby Jones.
Yeah.
So back end of the bench. Len, you'd consider Len to be probably middle of the bench because he did play 10 minutes a game or so. Overall now that we can look at the landscape of it's all said and done, what's your thoughts?
I'd give him a B plus. You
Yeah.
know, it's silly to do that. You have to wait and see how it plays out. But they had to move off of De'Aaron Fox at some point. San Antonio knew that. You look at the talent coming back. I think they made the best of a potentially really bad situation.
Yeah.
I think they did well.
It's resulted in 2 losses since.
Yeah, and it hadn't looked good.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, the first game, we were in the middle of that transaction, that big deal that came in, and the 2 guys that brought the stuff in are big Kings fans, and they were watching next door at the Chinese restaurant, as you say in your song. Mongolian barbecue was next door, and they were watching while they were waiting to come in, because we waited till after hours to put the deal together. So we started working on the deal at 7:00. So the Kings had just started. I'd given up my tickets, and they were monitoring on their phone while I was counting up and doing all the comping with the team. They're like, oh no. I was like, don't, because I have it on record, right? I'm going to watch it when I get home.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't even bother. I was like, really? Is it that bad? Yeah. I go, just tell me what's going on then. Kings were down like 20 something points, and the team wasn't meshing. Levine only had 13 points. It was just like a big old show.
Yeah.
S show. Yeah. So a S show. And so
A Shep show.
He's not a mess,
I
but
know
it's
he's
an
not.
S
He's my guy.
show. Yes. Sometimes he's a mess. So, then you go into the buzzsaw, aka the Portland Trailblazers, that are playing out of their minds right now. So you get 2 losses out the gate. You didn't have Jonas on game 1. You had him in game 2. You get LaRavia. I don't know. I feel good about the team on paper, but I felt good about the team on paper when we started this season.
Yeah, we had Jerry Reynolds on yesterday, and Jerry says they have about as much talent now as they've had, in his opinion, since they had, Artest and Bonzi in that group. But he said, wow, if you were starting camp with this group, if you were just, getting started, it'd be great. But it's tough to figure all these things out on the fly. At least they have the All-Star break coming up.
Quick pause. Shout out to Mark M, who bought a spot in the break just right now. Just
Good
by
job,
listening.
Mark M.
Mark M.
Uh-huh.
We love you.
Mark
Thank you very
M,
much.
the M for Minnesota. My prediction, he's going to get the Twins.
He's going to get the Twins?
Yes.
He'll probably be like, anybody but the Twins. Let's just trade. Thank you, Mark, for doing that. Anybody else want to join? I'll give you the shout out on the air on the blowtorch that is
That's
Second
worth
Sports.
$50 right there.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, at least we have at least 7 people listening right now, minimum.
Well,
is your wife listening? She's like, no, I'm in the garden.
if somebody has it on and there's someone else in the back, then there's like 7.
I'd like to thank both of you for listening. All right. So going on with this trade, what does that look like for the De'Aaron Fox card market? So I use De'Aaron Fox. He did print only 1 page of the 2. Thank you, Anthony.
That's all right.
Anthony?
No problem.
Oh, you did it on back to back? This guy's a paper saver.
Yeah.
He was like, why would I use 2 pages when the backside of this one? Hey.
Yeah, gotta save the trees.
23 years old and a environmentalist. Thank you very much, sir. Pre-Fox trade, 2017 Prism Silver card, the PSA 10. It's card number 24. Before the trade happened on January 31st, it closed at $195. Post-trade, yesterday, February 7th, closed at $270.
Whoa.
That's a $75 jump. That is a big jump, 40+% on that jump. Why, Whitey, would Fox jump from small market to small market yet see that much of an increase?
Because of Wemby and because of the reason he went there, and he's thinking he may be he may be on the ground floor of a franchise that's going to return to their past glories, and he's going to become a huge star if they do. So people are thinking, man, his profile's rising rapidly. They're going to be the next it team in the NBA. So I'm going to jump on De'Aaron Fox's rookie card, which, 195 is reasonable for a guy who has a chance to be a major star going forward. We'll see if they're right.
If you think about it, they won their first game against Atlanta.
Yep.
They won by 1 point. Wemby with a very intelligent play. I don't know if you watched that game.
I did see the end in yeah. Well, we were dining before the Kings game in the Golden One dining area.
Oh my goodness. What did you eat?
Oh, they had, was it gumbo, I think, that night?
Sounds like it was a memorable evening.
Yes.
You're all, I don't know.
The gumbo is much more memorable than the game.
I fell asleep in the second quarter. It was bedtime. You ever get the turkey leg? It's so
I
ridiculous.
haven't. Yeah, I haven't.
I
This
saw-
was the media area, but I know you're talking
Okay,
about the fare that's available.
So whenever I
yeah.
go to the game, I'm damned it's trying to get an aisle seat because I just like to get up and not be restricted in the seat.
Yeah.
So I let Jessica sit on the edge. I'm sitting in the second one, and the guy sitting next to me has one of those turkey legs. And I swear, man, that turkey leg was waving around in my face way too much.
Mhm.
He was like, "Yeah!" Like he'd scream, and then the turkey leg was in his left hand near my face.
Mm.
I turned to Jessica. I go, watch this. So this guy's waving his turkey leg around. I'm trying to bite it. She's losing her mind. She's taking photos and video of me trying to bite the turkey leg. So it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
That's a true
You
story.
have a way with people.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
Jessica will be like, that never happened. Okay. Luka
I know
trade.
it's not true because I would have seen the pictures because you post everything.
I don't. Did I post that picture of me and Beckett together? Oh, yeah, never mind. There's a trade also, the Luka Doncic trade that happened
Unbelievable.
in the middle of the night, several hours after you and I were off the air last week. So much so that I woke you out of your midnight slumber
At 8:12 p.m.
8:12.
I'm sorry to wake you up.
Did you see what happened? He's like, yes. It was such a terrible trade on the surface that we all thought that Shams was hacked.
Yep.
And the trade ended up being Luka and Max Christie for Anthony Davis. And who else was in that? Oh, sorry. Max Christie went that way.
Yeah.
Max Christie and
Well, then, and Utah was
with-
involved as well.
Utah found out an hour before. They're like, you want us to do what?
Yeah,
Sure,
and
why
Danny
not?
Ainge didn't realize he was helping the Lakers until it was too late. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, poor
yeah.
Danny.
Yeah.
He was probably sleeping. He was wake up! I got a trade for you. And then more so with that, they traded Dalton Connect
Yeah.
and some other pieces to Charlotte for Mark Williams. So now they have a center. So it's Jackson Hayes is no longer in the starting lineup. So they've got just some pieces around. Luka, we're going to talk about his 2018 Prism Silver number 280 PSA 10. His base is one of the most graded cards in the history of PSA grading. So I'm going to stay away from that. It's just
Yeah.
one of those super common $200 cards.
Emran, didn't he become a rookie right about the time when the whole industry exploded?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was, him and Ayton was either one or two.
And Trey
kid-
Young
yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
Marvin
right.
Bagley.
What a great draft. Truly that was. Jaron Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson came out of that draft. Michael Porter Jr. There's a lot of great players that came out of that draft.
Kings didn't get one, but you're
Well, I
right.
mean, it was either one or two, Ayton or Luka. And of course, with the Kings having number two, they just had the easy choice of whatever fell to them. And of course, they outthought themselves yet again.
yeah.
They pulled a Stauskas. 1, 2, 3, Nick Rocks. And they picked Marvin Bagley.
They
Why
did.
wouldn't they?
They did.
We have a generational talent that's been playing international ball and crushing people since he was 15 years old, or a rail thin guy, but it's got a really great second jump, meaning that he was going to miss his first shot when he
But that second
that
jump.
second jump.
Yeah.
So the Kings outthought themselves again. Luka trade ended up with a 2018 Prism Silver 280 PSA 10. Before the trade, he was injured. He's been injured since Christmas. January 29th, that closed at $1,050. Post trade, as of this morning, there was a sale that happened for $1,500, a 33% increase since the trade. Why, Whitey?
Because
Does
he's a
that happen?
Laker, he could become the face of the league now, even more than he already is in Dallas. And he's with LeBron now. So yeah, it's everybody betting on that upside of Luka becoming an even brighter star than he was in Dallas, which is his star was pretty bright there, as we know.
And he was definitely sad. You could see it in the press conference. He had just bought a big house there in Dallas.
Mhm.
He was committed to it. And I think he had probably 100-something million reasons why he'd be sad as well.
Yeah, because he no longer is eligible for the super max.
And then for him to say, when they asked him point blank, did anybody on your team ever ask for a trade? He said, absolutely not. It floored him. He didn't know what to do. They said he cried. Like, just stunning. And if you look at today, this is the first home game for the Dallas Mavericks. They've given the GM, Nico Harrison, more security than ever before. They're not letting him sit in his normal seats for his own safety. This is just S-Show 2.0.
Either the new ownership there did not want to give Luka the max given his injury history, or there was more to reports of the franchise being dissatisfied with the way he kept himself in shape than we knew. Maybe some combination of those, but that's how we ended up with the most stunning trade in NBA history. Maybe going back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting traded to the Lakers, or Wilt Chamberlain getting traded.
Yeah, I think all of that. With all of that said, the most stunning part about it was zero whispers of it, not even a hint of it.
Yeah,
leaking,
because it was just the two GMs knew each other really well. So it was like, hey, let's do this, but you can't tell anybody. Yeah, they're really good friends going back to their association with Kobe.
You're right, with the Nike stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't this guy, Nico Harrison, fumble the bag for Nike, though, with Steph Curry?
The Steph Curry presentation.
He called him Seth.
Yeah.
He called him Seth. And then when they opened the doc, the presentation doc, it still had the Durant stuff on it. Like, this guy's a...
Yeah.
Nico Harrison, 1, 2, 3. Nico rocks. Okay, so... For those of you that don't know what that is, go back into your Kings history and watch the draft room with D'Alessandro and Vivek.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I mean, I'm not an employee of Sacktown Sports 1140, but
you're not going to be at this rate.
1, 2, 3. You're not going to make it. All right. So let's go with all of this. We see some opportunities. There's one more trade that happened just yesterday or the day before. I didn't do any research on it. That's Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Down the road. Jimmy Butler was saying, I'm not going to get traded to the Warriors because I do not want to sign a long-term extension. Then he gets traded to the Warriors, and then he signs a 2-year extension. So that's Jimmy. I mean, that's somebody that says, when I say something, I mean it until I don't.
Right.
And he said, get ready. He called them Dub Nation. I don't know. Is that what they go by?
Sure.
Yeah.
Dub Nation?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he picked up the lingo quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, what do they call?
Lock in Dub Nation.
What do I say? Dub Nation? What's up, Dub Nation? What do we call ourselves? Kings Nation? What do we call ourselves?
The Kingdom? I don't know.
The Kingdom?
That's kind of like when someone comes here. What do I say? Mention the beam. You love the beam. You can't wait to light the beam. Okay. Right? And we eat it up. We're like, yeah.
Beam, yeah. You are one of us.
Yeah.
So bye-bye Andrew Wiggins. Bye-bye. Who else left?
Kyle Anderson was part
Slow-mo.
of that deal.
Yep, Slow-mo's gone. Yeah.
And others.
And who can forget? And cash considerations.
I think the bigger deal, not to derail you, but the whole fact that they had it all set up where KD was going to go back to the Warriors, and he's like, I don't want to go there. And not like, I'm not sure, but I don't want to go there.
You know who's kind of KD's moving towards? He's becoming like the most hated guy in the league. In the sense of like, people are like, ugh, this guy. You know who that guy has been for a long time? Dwight Howard. Everybody's like, ugh, Dwight Howard. James Harden, ugh. Like, I could tell you these are top. James Harden is a top 75 documented NBA player, right? They have him on the 75th anniversary team, and people hate collecting him. I go, do you want any James Harden? They're like, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? Nobody invests in James Harden, right? There are some players that may be great on the court that people just don't want to collect. Durant is one of them. I think, like, if Durant's going to the Hall of Fame, if he had to wear a cap, which they don't, like baseball, if he had to wear a cap, what cap would he wear?
It's funny, you have to wear one on draft night in the NBA. You got to wear, these guys have the nicest suits, and then here's an OKC ball cap.
And I love it when the guys have the hair that sticks out both sides of their head, like Ostriker Gamble.
Right.
Remember when the big old afros hanging out each side of it? It's so funny. I remember Robin Lopez.
Yeah.
When he put on I believe he's drafted by the Suns, and he puts on that hat. Or Anderson Varejao. Yeah, those hats are hilarious.
Yeah. KD would put he's a Nike guy, right? Probably wear like a Nike cap.
That tells you about legacy. Some of these guys are
more loyal to their brands now than they are to teams. And I'm not criticizing them.
Sounds like you're.
No, it's a fact. I believe it's a fact.
Greg says in the chat, in the YouTube chat, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green about to be throwing some punches at each other.
Probably a Buddy Hield. I think Carmichael Dave tweeted something.
They go.
Yeah.
Make a shot already. Buddy Hield has been on my fantasy team for the better part of the year. I have him on the bench. I have him on the bench all the time, and I'm like, whew. 2 3-pointers, 6 points, 2 for 17 from 3.
Shavano.
Oh, it's been bad. It's been bad. All right, so Fox got a draft night visor. Oh yeah, that's right. He did. Fox was sharp that night. I think he did something for breast cancer awareness for his mom.
Mm-hmm.
He had it on the inside. Fox looked sharp that night.
Yeah.
All right. As we close out, we want to remind you that we have the True Sports Cards Trade Night there at 6661 Stanford Ranch. That's going to be held on February 22nd from 6 to 9. We'd love to see you there. We're going to be giving away a lot of items like top swag. We're going to be giving away all kinds of boxes, and we're going to do breaks. Don't forget about our True Sports Card break this upcoming Wednesday at 7 p.m. Join us by buying your spot at truesportscards.com under box breaks, team breaks. Join us. Whitey, any parting words as we go out to your song?
Only open till 2 tomorrow. I may have to make my way up there before you close tomorrow.
He's going to get some supplies because he's going to be opening that Bowman's Best box that he never opened. I gave him 2 weeks ago.
Not yet.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be live again next week. We'll see you here from Whitey, myself, and Anthony behind the window. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday.
With every card under the sun, you might find an old Doug Christie numbered 101.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Match De'Aaron Fox.